Hello guys, QuickFilms here, and today I will show you an action, thriller, drama film from 2018, called Breaking In. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The film opens with a man named Isaac going for a run in his neighborhood. As Isaac crosses a street, a pickup truck hits him, leaving him injured on the ground. The driver exits the vehicle slowly, walking over to Isaac. The injured Isaac stares up at the man before the unknown man stomps on Isaac's head. It fades to black and now sometime later, Isaac's daughter Sean Russell can be seen driving to Isaac's old home with her children, Jasmine and Glover. Sean is heading to the old home to sell it. Once they arrive at the house, the family begins to look around the outside. When they enter the home, a security panel can be heard beeping. Sean investigates and believes it's because the power went out. Jasmine turns it off and heads to the kitchen. Sean explains to Jasmine that they have to get the house ready to be sold. Jasmine worries about her mom, but Sean tells her it's her job to worry about her, not the other way around. Sean enters another room and opens the curtains only to find the windows blocked by large white panels. She reaches out to touch it. As she does, the panel begins to retract. Surprised, she asks if Glover had done that and leaves to search for him. While searching for Glover, Sean finds boxes with her childhood possessions. Music begins to abruptly play throughout the house. She walks into a room and Glover can be seen sitting in front of a computer. Glover explains the very advanced security system installed in the house to her and shows her the remote used to control everything in the home. Sean tells Glover to leave the room and that she'll order pizza for him. Hours later, Sean can be seen outside ordering from Jay's Pizza and drinking wine while Glover plays with his drone. She gets put on hold and attempts to place her wine glass down, accidentally dropping it. She notices the garage door is opened and heads over to investigate. Glover's drone suddenly stops functioning. Glover walks over to find his drone on the ground. While looking at the drone's video feed, Glover sees a man behind him, but before he can run, Glover is grabbed. He screams and this alerts Jasmine in the other room. She leaves her room to go check on Glover and her mother. Thinking Glover is playing a prank and hiding, Jasmine gets attacked by a man. Sean exits the garage after finding nothing. She looks through the window to see Glover missing, and seconds later, she is attacked from behind. He tells her to calm down, but Sean bites his hand. She tries to call for help, but it's futile. Sean successfully fights off the intruder by stabbing him in the chest with the broken wine glass and scurries away to find her children. Sean attempts to open multiple doors, only to find out they are all locked. She eventually finds a large window. Glover and Jasmine can be seen, scared and sitting together with an unknown man standing beside them. She tries to break the window with a chair, but it bounces off. The window panel lowers shortly after and Sean promises to save them. The man Sean had stabbed earlier catches up with her and a chase ensues into the nearby woods. She jumps over a fence and stumbles down a hill onto a car. The man watches her from above as she continues to run away. Now inside the house, the criminals, Sam, Duncan, and Eddie discuss with one another about how Pete should have been back by now. They reveal they're here for the safe that contains $4 million but don't know where it is. Duncan suggests they ask the kids, but Sam says they wouldn't know anything because Isaac didn't speak with his family. The two men argue, and Eddie tells them to break it up. Pete makes his way down the hill, crowbar in hand, and search for Sean. Pete calls out, claiming to not want to hurt her. Sean can be seen hiding behind a log as Pete enters the area. Pete thinks that he has found Sean and walks over to the log, and as he does, Sean attempts to run past him. He swings his crowbar at her, which she ducks underneath of, and the crowbar gets stuck in a tree. A fight ensues. Pete pushes her onto a tree and attempts to choke her. Sean reaches her thumb and presses it against one of Pete's eyes, which causes him to throw her on the ground. She attempts to crawl away, but Pete gets on top of her and tries to choke her again. Sean inserts her thumb in Pete's chest injury, throwing him off of her and pushing his head down onto a rock that knocks him out. She rummages through his pockets and finds a pair of handcuffs and notices his dog tags. Back at the house, Eddie tells the others that their plan is to get the money and leave. Duncan tells them that the kids have seen their faces and suggests they get rid of them as they could be potential witnesses. Sam disagrees and begins to explain that the moment they cut off the phone lines that they will only have 90 minutes to get out before the security company alerts the local police. The group questions where Pete is because they need him to open the safe. The intercom begins to ring. Eddie walks over and answers it. Shawn introduces herself to Eddie and she asks Eddie to release her children. She tells him that she won't call the police and will just leave with her children if she lets them go. Eddie refuses and Shawn asks to talk with her children. Sam brings Jasmine over to speak with her mom. Eddie tells Jasmine not to say anything about the rest of them. After telling her mom that they're okay, Jasmine tries to warn Shawn about the others. Eddie covers her mouth before she can say anything else. He confirms Pete is alive. Eddie tries to convince Shawn to cooperate with him so her family can make it out safely. Duncan, who went to find her, was too late. Shawn had run away. Shawn goes back to the injured Pete, who is now awake, and questions him about his crew. Pete tells her there are 4 of them and they're all dangerous. She hears a vehicle approaching the house and Shawn leaves Pete again. The car is being driven by Maggie, the real estate agent, helping Shawn sell the house. Maggie knocks on the door expecting Shawn, but Eddie answers instead. After a quick conversation with him, Maggie notices something is wrong and rushes towards her car while attempting to dial the local police. Duncan catches her, knocking her out with a punch. Duncan then slits her throat with a knife while Shawn and her family watch in horror. Duncan drags Maggie's bloody body back into the home. Sam and Eddie question his actions. Eddie tells Duncan that he's made a terrible decision and to clean up his mess. While Sam, Duncan, and Eddie continue to trash the house in search of the safe, Sam notices Shawn standing just outside of one of the windows. Sam turns to alert the others but when he turns back, Shawn is nowhere to be found. Sam decides to walk outside to find Shawn while calling for Eddie. The security lights turn off and Sam is startled by what sounds like gunfire. Shawn had set up firecrackers as a distraction. As Sam scurries inside, Shawn can be seen running around, knocking the lights out around the house and cutting the power. The criminals search around the house to find her. Sam hears something and goes outside with his bat, but leaves the door open. Shawn uses this moment and sneaks into the house using the door. Eddie scans the security monitors looking for Shawn's location but Shawn uses Glover's drone to set off motion detectors, distracting Eddie and leading him across the house. She manages to sneak into the security room, seeing her children through the security feed. Shawn finds a way into the room where her daughter, Jasmine, is and tells her that they are going to get out and to be brave. Jasmine tells her mother about the safe the criminals are looking for. The criminals suspect Shawn is in the house and begin to look around in search of her. Duncan gets close to finding her, but Shawn manages to remain hidden from him. Eddie suspects the kids would know where Shawn is and goes to question them with the others. They threaten Jasmine with a knife and she tells them where the safe is hidden. Eddie asks her if she knows the combination and is frustrated when she tells him no. Shawn sneaks out of the house and heads back to the injured Pete. She grabs him and walks him back to the home. Duncan and Sam tie the kids up and begin to argue again. Duncan tells Sam to kill one of the kids to put Shawn in her place but Sam refuses. Shawn calls them through the intercom and tells them her location, and when they arrive she is holding Pete at knife point. She tries to negotiate Pete for her kids but Eddie shoots Pete instead. Shawn rushes back into the woods terrified for her children's safety. Eddie walks over to Pete's body and removes his dog tags. Back at the house, the criminals remove a USB from one of the dog tags and unlock the safe, revealing the $4 million. The group clearly excited about this. Duncan begins to pour gasoline all throughout the house. Their plan is to light the house on fire with the kids inside. Sam is unsure about this, but Eddie reassures him that everything will be all right. Music begins to play throughout the house and the criminals rush to find the source. Shawn, who is now on the roof of the house, begins to mess with them, while she tries to find her kids. She ends up making noise while on the roof, alerting Sam, who goes to tell the others. Shawn tries to open a skylight to get to her kids but Duncan and Sam sneak up on her and manage to stop her. Inside, Jasmine manages to break free from her restraints and helps Glover get out of the room. Duncan tells Sam to kill Shawn or he is next. The kids rush for the door to escape, but Eddie catches them just in time. He drops his gun and Glover picks it up, aiming it at Eddie. Eddie tries to reason with Glover, but Glover fires the gun at him and misses. Shawn pushes Sam off of the roof and manages to get down as well. Sam ends up cracking his head and dying on impact. She goes through his pockets to find the house keys. Glover and Jasmine run away from Eddie and meet Shawn in the yard. Duncan chases after them and manages to keep up with them. The family gets into Sam's pickup truck and run over Duncan as he gets closer to them. Eddie finally catches up and begins to fire at the truck while they drive off. The truck runs into a tree and stops. When Eddie goes over to the truck, he notices no one is in it and runs back to the house. Sean and the kids manage to lock themselves in the house before Eddie can get back in. Just when they think the nightmare is over, the family notices the bag of money left in the house. An enraged Eddie fires bullets into the house while screaming at the family. Sean and the kids hide in the house until they notice a car pulling up. It's her husband Justin. Justin notices something is wrong at the house and rushes to the front door. Eddie attacks Justin and holds a gun to him while telling Sean to open the door. Sean opens the door remotely and Eddie enters looking for Sean and the money. Eddie finds Sean holding a lighter over the bag of money. She tells Eddie she will set the money on fire if he doesn't leave. After a bit of back and forth, Eddie lowers his gun and grabs the money. While he's walking out of the house, Eddie is stabbed multiple times by an injured Duncan. Sean runs through the house while Duncan chases after her. Duncan catches up to Sean and punches her multiple times. Jasmine tries to help her mom but isn't successful. Sean crawls on the ground and tries to grab Eddie's gun, but Duncan steps on her hand and knocks the gun away. Sean takes his knife and stabs Duncan multiple times, killing him. Sean and her family can now be seen hugging each other tightly on the front steps as sirens wail in the night skies. The end. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this and help the channel out. Have a good day.